Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. The War of the Worlds was written between 1895 and 1897, and it is said to be one of the earliest stories about a conflict between humankind and an extraterrestrial race, that is, aliens. The novel is said in the first person narrative, and this person is an unnamed protagonist in Surrey and his younger brother who escapes in Tillingham in Essex. And this is because London and southern England is invaded by Martians. These Martians are only these extraterrestrial invaders. And this unnamed narrator lives in Woking, which is outside of London, in the early 20th century. He tells the story of an invasion of Earth by Martians. The story starts at the end of the 19th century while Earth is being observed by Martians. Resources on Mars are running out, and the Martians, with super technology, plan to conquer the Earth. Astronomers witness the venting of gases on Mars and not knowing that it is the Martians launching their attack. A falling star lands near the narrator's home and he goes to investigate. Several other scientists have already started inspecting the strange object. It is a long metal cylinder with an end cap the size of a table. When the end cap begins to unscrew itself, the scientists conclude that it must have travelers inside. Now crowds of people gather and eventually strange Martians exist from the cylinder. The narrator later discovers that these strange beings are actual vehicles that the Martian pilots, that is only part of the large creature that everyone sees, is actually the Martian. While the scientists are trying to communicate with the Martians, a strange device rises from the pit. The Martians use a heat ray to instantly incinerate anything in its path. They sweep the ray round the pit, burning the scientist and almost all the gathered people. Our narrator narrowly escapes and he runs home and tells his wife. Life continues for those around the area of the crash site who are unaware of the danger that the Martians pose. A military regiment has been activated and the artillerymen are deployed to investigate. A second cylinder streaks across the sky and lands nearby. When fighting breaks out between the soldiers and the Martians, the narrator decides to flee to Leatherhead with his wife. He borrows a horse and a cart from a neighbor and rides for the remainder of the day. After leaving his wife with family, he travels back towards Woking to return the cart and the horse. On his approach to Woking, the narrator sees a third cylinder streak across the sky. Two large vehicles crash through the trees nearby and he swerves and topples the cart, killing the horse. He hides under the way until the vehicles have passed and runs to his home. The narrator notices an artilleryman hiding outside of his house and invites the man inside. The artilleryman tells the narrator about how the heat ray instantly destroyed his artillery emplacement. The artilleryman and the narrator leave the next day. In a battle at the Thames River, one of the Martian vehicles is destroyed. The Martians retreat with the wrecked vehicle and the narrator barely escapes, eventually hiding in a building with a curate who behaves in a deranged manner. The narrator describes his brother's escape from London. The narrator's brother is part of a mass exodus that is extremely dangerous, not just for the Martian vehicles but also for the 6 million citizens trying to flee the city. The narrator's brother saves 2 women from robbers and the 3 of them eventually escape on a steamboat, leaving the Essex court. The narrator and the curate travel through the outskirts of London, hiding from the Martians. As they hide in a building that has a well-stocked pantry, another cylinder from Mars lands outside and destroys half of the building. The narrator and the curate are trapped inside, but they can watch the Martians through a small crack in the rubble. The narrator watches the Martians closely. The curate, who was already showing signs of insanity, becomes even more disturbed each day. He also refuses to ration the food. After several days, he starts yelling and the narrator knocks him unconscious. The noise attracts one of the Martians who drags the curate's body away. The narrator hides in a coal cellar and is almost discovered. After days of silence, the narrator leaves the ruined building and finds that the Martians are all gone. He wanders the burnt landscape looking for food. He comes across the artilleryman that hid at his house. The artilleryman describes a future where humans must live underground and prepare to overthrow the Martians someday. The narrator finds the artilleryman's plans unsettling but agrees to help him because he wants to have a purpose again. However, the narrator changes his mind the next day and wants to find his wife. As the narrator passes through London, he sees no signs of the Martians and he discovers that the Martians have all died from bacteria as they had none on their home world. People flood back into the city and the narrator is nursed back to health by a helpful family. He hears that Leatherhead was destroyed. He leaves the family, returns to his home in Woking and finds his wife. The narrator ends his story by saying that the Martian attack was actually beneficial as it let humans know that they are threats on other planets. He is still haunted by all the death and destruction that he has witnessed, and the story ends here. It's a beautiful and one of the best by H.G. Wells. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box, like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.